Welcome to another edition of the Insight250 Spotlight series, where we talk to leaders and innovators all around the world to understand the stories and meet the people behind the insights. I'm Crispin Beale, CEO of Insight250, and I'm delighted to be joined by Vinay Ahuja, the Vice President of Analytics and Insights at Procter Gamble Europe. So welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Crispin, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Well, it's fantastic that you've joined us. Now, look, I'm sure the first question that everyone would love to know is, how did you get into Insights?
I would say with a lot of good luck. Honestly, I was lucky to have had an opportunity of an internship in what was then known as the Market Research Department at P&G during the course of my MBA program. Today, that work of market research has evolved into analytics and insights. And essentially, that opportunity sparked in me, I would say, a true love for the art and science of understanding human behavior. That plus a curiosity for why people do what they do and a desire to use that understanding to change things around me for the better is what got me started. It helped me that I had a degree in statistics, had studied computer science, and I had some interest in psychology too. What I say to young people who are who are in their early career years is keep looking for experiences to learn by doing. Internships, especially at P&G, are still our preferred platform for recruiting. So welcome on board.
That's true. I think so many of us in the profession are curious. I think that's a great point. And I guess my next question is, how do you see the role of insights evolving in our space?
Hey, that's a great question, Crispin. Listen, I think we're clearly in a time where the external environment has been or never been as volatile, right? Between COVID, the war on our European soil, the inflation, and also Brexit before that, right? We've never had so many changes in our lives in so short a time. And these have clearly changed consumer behavior in so many ways, especially our daily habits. So, understanding these new behaviors, which are both a response to and a cause of the shifts in the market context, studying them offers us tremendous and new opportunities to learn how to delight consumers with new and better experiences. I would say the moments of interaction, transition, and more broadly, change. These are rich territories for discovering points of friction and jobs to be done, which are critical for brands to understand. So, add to this, we also have this widening say and do gap. What people say and what they actually do starts to diverge more and more so notably. And when you combine all these, we really have an urgent need to deeply understand consumer behaviors, preferences, pain points, and distill true insights for CPG with really fresh approaches and to connect the dots in ways we have not done before. So, our mission really calls for continuously to keep learning in new ways about how consumer habits as well as their attitudes are evolving. So, how do we elevate the impact of insights in CPG? I believe the magic really lies in two areas. First is our ability to what I would say datafy, to measure, to capture, codify what has not been commonly measurable in the past. And then, second, is the integration of that diverse data to connect the what and the why to get a holistic understanding of our consumers. So, I really believe we're at an exciting stage in the evolution of insights in CPG. And thanks to technology, we can now measure what has been hitherto unmeasurable. I'll give you an example. With computer vision, we can now observe human behavior in real time that the consumer may not even be aware of, that we may not be able to see with our own eyes. For instance, we can now measure with the help of a variety of sensors, cameras, and AI, and obviously with the appropriate permission of participating respondents, of course, goes without saying, exactly how much water is being used, how much product is being dispensed in each stage of the washing up process, and then to pair this up with the consumer's perception of their actions, right? Then this really enables us to identify, I would say, myriad opportunities for improving the consumer's washing experience. And that's just one example. I could go on and talk at length about the importance as well as all the powerful changes that are happening in the way we cover insights. But I really think there can't be a better time to be in FMCG and to be in insights.
Yeah, I think that that's so true, and the pace of change is definitely accelerating. And I love that terminology you use about the magic, and it makes us feel like almost magicians that we're doing this stuff. It's so important. But thinking about that, I guess the follow-on question would be really, what's your top tip to be a leader and innovator in our profession?
Oh, well, I say this with all humility to everyone in our profession. Let's continue to put our heads down and work hard really to drive the impact of insights on business decisions in every possible way. Uh, Understanding how to solve specific consumer pain points and building empathy with our clients, customers, consumers will always be the cornerstone of impactful consumer insights and analytics work, right? And to do this, we really have to lead with new ways of understanding consumers and innovate around what we've not been able to, as I said, codify or measure before. And to accomplish this in turn, we need to foster a culture of curiosity, continuous learning, experimentation. And while we must continually question why we do what we do and what might be a new, better way, we must also open ourselves up to new data sources, new technologies, platforms, upskill ourselves with new methods, build our own personal capabilities. So it's really about asking yourself not what you know already, but rather what are the new things you've learned this year, last month, yesterday. This is my mantra. Stay in a beta learning mode as much as I can every day.
I think that is such a good mantra. I love that. I think that's really good advice for everyone. Thank you for that. Now, I guess, look, in a post-COVID world, many teams have reduced resources, and yet they need to achieve more. And often marketing teams and others are hungry for the data, which is great that they want it, but they then attempt to conduct research or analyze data independently. And sometimes they're misinterpreting or incorrectly analyzing that data. I guess others in this challenging new world are faced with growing and siloed data sets and or tools that are no longer fit for purpose. As you mentioned, technology is changing so quickly. So we are in this world where insights and evidence are more important, yet results are needed more quickly. So I guess my question for you is, how can companies tackle these different challenges?
Oh, that's many questions in one. I'll try and give you my view on this. First of all, I do want to acknowledge. I do agree that the last few years have been very disruptive, not just for consumers and society, but also for our profession too, and so many others, right? So the first thing I would say is never waste a crisis, never waste a good crisis, right? With all the disruption going on, I think there's a true opportunity to frame the case for change, a case for upskilling, a case for fresh approaches, and a case for more investment in insights to understand how the world around us is getting rewired and the need to really keep a close pulse on it, right? And this is going to require a lot of integrative thinking as well as courage, right? So I call upon insight leaders first and foremost to take the initiative, to size up the past years and ask, so what are the new opportunities being created in our sectors, right? And how insights and analytics can play a critical role going forward, engage their business leaders into this conversation, right? So define what are the most pressing opportunities to pursue for your business, and then drive strong alignment across the organization on what the insights team will do and importantly not do, right? So on business teams that are analyzing the data incorrectly, I believe we have a responsibility here also to step change the culture of analytical problem solving across the broader organizations we work in. So it's beyond the insights and analytics team, right? This proliferation of data as well as tools to dissect all these means that we have, I would say, ever more knives as well as amateur cooks in our kitchens, right? Insights and analytics teams so must enable their whole broader multifunctional team to become better at using all these tools and data every day so they can do it well on their own. So that can free up the time and, let's say, demand on the insight teams so they can then focus on some very specific wicked problems that need their expertise, right? So we're going to have to need everybody to come along with us, so we have to train them, right? Then to your point on siloed data, you know, I believe that insight leaders, again, should be leading the thinking on data architectures, right? We need to define what knowledge, what data platforms are needed, and how that could aggregate the data from various sources into one unified view. So you enable teams to analyze, cross-reference data more comprehensively without looking at individual silos, right? So more fundamentally, I think it's really about promoting a culture of data sharing, collaboration, and ensuring that insights are broadly disseminated, are able to be utilized effectively across an organization, right? So then you get cohesive, informed decision making rather than people making their own conclusions in their respective spaces, right? One final thought on the dashboards, which I think are becoming everybody's favorite go-to toy these days, right? We have to remember the limitations of these dashboards and the complex survey analysis tools. I think we have to always remember that what is behind every metric on a dashboard. I think that is an untold story of human motivation and behavior. What is the why behind the what or the when that, show up in scorecards and dashboards? Those numbers can't do the thinking for us. So we have to retrain, support, and create opportunities for our teams to go out and listen to customers, listen to consumers so they can truly drive the impact on business growth. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. That is absolutely fascinating and so, so true and so important. And Vinay, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today. It's really appreciated.
Hey, pleasure to speak with you, Crispin.
No, well, look, we've had a whole interview that viewers can listen to. They can go on to Research World or on Insight250.com and see many other topics that we've covered here, Vinay and I today. So please do go on and do that. But for now, that wraps up another episode of the Insight 250 Spotlight series. Again, a huge thank you, Vinay, for joining us today. Now, do stay tuned for more episodes with more discoveries. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, keep innovating. Thank you.